So as soon as I heard Hendrix play that intro, I got that.
What if your greatest gift became your heaviest burden? For Ritchie Blackmore, the guitar genius behind Deep Purple and Rainbow, his extraordinary talent was both a blessing and a curse. As his fingers danced across the fretboard, creating sounds that would change rock forever, his pursuit of musical perfection isolated him from bandmates and fans alike. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on the tragic story of a man whose brilliance became his own worst enemy. Blackmore's journey through fame and solitude reveals the dark side of musical genius, where the very gift that elevated him to stardom also pushed him away from those around him. The spark that ignited the fire. In 1975, Deep Purple was in turmoil, with Ritchie Blackmore at the epicenter. The guitar virtuoso felt stifled by the band's shift towards funk rock, his creative vision clashing with the rest of the group. The tension peaked during the Stormbringer album sessions. Blackmore proposed recording a cover of Black Sheep of the Family by Quatermass, but his bandmates rejected the idea, unwilling to deviate from their new sound. For Blackmore, this rejection was the final straw. He later revealed, "I was tired of the band's relentless schedules, growing funk rock influences, and their refusal to record Black Sheep of the Family." Undeterred, Blackmore began secret recording sessions with members of Elf, a band that had impressed him while supporting Deep Purple on tour. In these clandestine meetings, he found the creative freedom he craved. He recorded Black Sheep of the Family and an original composition, 16th Century Greensleeves. As these secret sessions progressed, Blackmore was laying the groundwork for something new. He was crafting a sound that would allow him to fully express his musical genius. The anticipation built as he continued to work with the Elf members in secret. But few could have predicted the significant change on the horizon. In a move that shocked the music world, Ritchie Blackmore quit Deep Purple. The band that had made him a rock icon was now behind him. But Blackmore wasn't stepping away from music. He was about to embark on a new journey that would leave a lasting impact on rock music. From the ashes of his Deep Purple departure, Blackmore formed Rainbow. This new band was a vehicle for his uncompromising vision, a platform where he could fully explore his musical ideas without restriction. With Rainbow, Blackmore was free to create a sound that was uniquely his own. A band forged in chaos. Rainbow's inception in 1975 marked a significant shift in Ritchie Blackmore's career. The band's debut album, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, showcased a unique blend of hard rock and classical influences, with Ronnie James Dio's powerful vocals complementing Blackmore's intricate guitar work. However, the initial success was overshadowed by Blackmore's growing dissatisfaction. He quickly replaced the Elf members, except for Dio, with drummer Cozy Powell, bassist Jimmy Bain, and keyboardist Tony Carey. This new lineup aimed to elevate Rainbow's sound, but it introduced a host of interpersonal challenges. The atmosphere within the band became increasingly tense. Jimmy Bain described the uncertainty. You never knew when he would turn around and say, "You're sacked." This constant pressure affected the musicians' performance and creativity. Tony Carey's experience was particularly grim. He recalled, "I can't remember a single sentence that Ritchie ever said to me that wasn't sarcastic or condescending." This toxic environment strained relationships and hindered collaboration. Blackmore's unpredictability extended beyond his management style. His penchant for practical jokes often targeted band members he disliked, adding another layer of stress to an already volatile situation. Cozy Powell noted how these pranks could be particularly cruel to those who fell out of favor. Despite the internal strife, Rainbow's music continued to evolve. Each lineup change brought new influences to the band's sound. However, the constant flux in personnel meant that the group never had time to settle into a consistent groove, always balancing between brilliance and chaos. The band produced a string of critically acclaimed albums, but at a considerable cost. Blackmore's relentless pursuit of his vision left a trail of disgruntled musicians and earned him a reputation for being difficult to work with. While his musical genius was undeniable, many questioned whether the tumultuous process was worth the final product. As Rainbow's lineup continued to shift, the music industry watched with a mix of fascination and concern. The band's story became a cautionary tale about the fine line between artistic vision and personal relationships in the world of rock and roll. The rise of a rock colossus. While critics praised Rainbow's albums, the band's inner circle was crumbling. Blackmore's pursuit of musical excellence had set the stage for an epic rise and a potential fall. What would it take to keep this fragile alliance intact as they conquered the rock world? Rainbow's 1976 album, Rising, lived up to its name, showcasing Blackmore's virtuosic guitar work and Dio's powerful vocals. Songs like Stargazer and A Light in the Black became instant classics, displaying the band's unique blend of hard rock and classical influences. Behind the scenes, pressure mounted. Blackmore's control over the band's direction tightened with each success. He demanded perfection, often pushing members to their limits during recording sessions and live performances. His relentless pursuit of musical vision left little room for compromise or creative input from others. The toll of Blackmore's exacting standards was heavy. Band members found themselves in constant anxiety, never knowing when they might fall short of the guitarist's expectations. The revolving door of musicians continued to spin, bringing new challenges and tensions with each lineup change. Rainbow's popularity grew despite internal struggles. Their live shows became legendary, featuring elaborate stage setups that drew massive crowds. The band's worldwide sales soared to an estimated 28 million albums, with 4 million sold in the United States alone. Success came at a cost. The relentless touring and recording schedule pushed the band to their breaking point. Months on the road took their toll, with members struggling to keep up with Blackmore's demands. The pressure to deliver hit after hit weighed heavily on everyone, especially Blackmore himself. Ronnie James Dio, despite his admiration for Blackmore's talent, felt the strain of working under such intense scrutiny. In a later interview, he reflected, "Ritchie Blackmore is the one who gave me my opportunity to show what I was worth." This gratitude was mixed with the challenges of collaborating with such a demanding perfectionist. The band's 1976 world tour featured a massive 40-foot backdrop powered by 3,000 light bulbs, creating a spectacle that matched their music's grandeur. But behind the dazzling lights and thunderous sound, musicians grappled with the pressure to meet Blackmore's exacting standards night after night. Rainbow's rise to the top of the rock world was meteoric, their unique sound setting them apart from peers. But as their star continued to ascend, the foundation upon which the band was built began to crack. The price of perfection. Behind the glittering facade of Rainbow's success, a storm was brewing. How long could the band members endure Blackmore's relentless pursuit of musical excellence? The answer would push them to their breaking point and beyond. As Rainbow's popularity soared, the pressure within the band reached a boiling point. Blackmore's demands grew more intense with each passing day. He pushed for longer rehearsals, more complex arrangements, and flawless live performances. The guitar virtuoso's quest for perfection knew no bounds, and his bandmates bore the brunt of his obsession. Ronnie James Dio, despite his powerful voice and stage presence, found himself constantly under scrutiny. Blackmore would often criticize Dio's lyrics, demanding rewrites mere hours before a show. The tension between the two creative forces became palpable, with heated arguments erupting backstage and in the studio. Cozy Powell, the band's drummer, recalled a particularly grueling recording session where Blackmore made him play the same drum fill over 50 times. He'd stand there, arms crossed, shaking his head after each take. Powell said, "It was maddening, but that was Ritchie. Nothing less than perfection would do." The constant lineup changes added to the chaos, wreaking havoc on the band's chemistry. New members would join, barely have time to learn the material, and then find themselves out the door. This revolving door policy left everyone feeling anxious and depressed, never knowing if they'd still have a job the next day. Even the road crew felt Blackmore's wrath. One roadie recalled a night when Blackmore smashed his guitar against the mixing board, furious about a minor feedback issue during the show. This incident exemplified the toxic environment that stifled creativity and left many second-guessing their every move. The pressure cooker environment took its toll on Blackmore as well. His mood swings became more erratic, and his behavior more unpredictable. One moment, he'd be joking around with the band. The next, he'd be threatening to fire everyone. This Jekyll and Hyde persona left everyone walking on eggshells, never sure which version of Ritchie they'd encounter. Despite the turmoil, Rainbow continued to produce groundbreaking music. Albums like Long Live Rock and Roll showcased the band's incredible talent and Blackmore's visionary songwriting. But the question remained, at what cost did this musical brilliance come? The changing face of Rainbow. As Rainbow's hard rock sound reached its peak, Ritchie Blackmore grew restless. He yearned for something different, something more commercial. But how would the band's die-hard followers react to such a change? In 1979, Rainbow underwent a transformation that shocked fans and critics alike. Blackmore, the guitar virtuoso known for heavy riffs and classical influences, set his sights on a more radio-friendly sound. This shift led to the departure of Ronnie James Dio, the powerful vocalist who had been with Rainbow since its inception. The split was far from amicable, with both parties exchanging heated words in the press. Blackmore quickly assembled a new lineup, bringing in Graham Bonnet, a singer with a more commercial appeal, and recruiting his former Deep Purple bandmate Roger Glover as bassist and producer. This new iteration of Rainbow was tasked with creating a sound that could compete with popular rock bands on the radio charts. The result was Down to Earth, an album that diverged significantly from Rainbow's earlier work. Gone were the epic medieval-inspired tracks, replaced by shorter, punchier songs with catchy hooks and polished production. Blackmore's guitar work, while still impressive, took a back seat to more straightforward rock arrangements. The shift in style polarized the fan base. Many longtime followers felt betrayed, accusing Blackmore of selling out. They mourned the loss of the band's distinctive sound and Dio's powerful vocals. Music critics were similarly divided, with opinions split between praise for the band's evolution and disappointment at the loss of their unique identity. Despite the mixed reactions, the new Rainbow sound found a broader audience. The single "Since You Been Gone" became their first major hit, reaching the top 10 in the UK and introducing Rainbow to a new generation of listeners. The follow-up, All Night Long, continued this success, validating Blackmore's instincts about the changing musical landscape. The final act. Rainbow's chart-topping hits masked a growing unease within the band. But as the 1980s wore on, would Blackmore's relentless pursuit of musical perfection ultimately lead to Rainbow's downfall? As the decade progressed, Rainbow's popularity began to decline. The band's new direction alienated many original fans, while constant lineup changes made it difficult for listeners to form lasting connections. Blackmore, ever the perfectionist, grew increasingly dissatisfied with the band's output. The final years of Rainbow were marked by significant changes that left fans and critics bewildered. Joe Lynn Turner's arrival as lead vocalist brought a more polished, AOR-friendly sound. But even this failed to satisfy Blackmore's restless spirit. The revolving door of musicians took its toll on Rainbow's sound and identity, with each new album straying further from their hard rock roots. Creative differences tore at the band's core. Blackmore's evolving vision for Rainbow clashed with the expectations of fans and record labels, leaving him yearning for musical freedom. Live performances, once legendary for their energy and improvisation, became more predictable and less exciting. In a surprising turn, Blackmore rejoined Deep Purple in 1984, sending shockwaves through the rock world. For a time, he attempted to juggle both bands, but it soon became clear that Rainbow's days were numbered. The final act came in 1985, when Blackmore officially disbanded Rainbow to focus on Deep Purple. Years later, he reflected on the decision, saying, "I was tired of the whole Rainbow thing. It had run its course, and I needed a change." The legacy of a maverick. As Rainbow faded into rock history, Blackmore's restless spirit refused to be tamed. But could his uncompromising vision survive in a changing musical landscape? The next phase of his career would test not only his musical genius, but also the patience of his most devoted followers. In the wake of Rainbow's demise, Ritchie Blackmore left an indelible mark on rock history. His innovative guitar techniques, including his use of the harmonic minor scale and pioneering shredding style, reshaped the sound of hard rock and heavy metal. This influence extended far beyond his playing, inspiring countless guitarists who followed in his footsteps. Blackmore's perfectionism was a double-edged sword throughout his career. While it pushed his bandmates to new heights, resulting in critically acclaimed albums, it also led to conflicts and tension within the band. His high standards often put him at odds with record labels and music journalists, contributing to his reputation as a difficult artist. Despite the controversies, Rainbow's impact on future generations of musicians was profound. Yngwie Malmsteen, a renowned guitarist in the neoclassical metal genre, openly acknowledged Blackmore as a significant influence. This legacy extends to numerous rock and metal guitarists who cite Blackmore as a key inspiration. Blackmore's unconventional approach set him apart from his peers. While many rock stars were content to stick with a winning formula, he constantly pushed for change and evolution. This restlessness led to Rainbow's dramatic shift from hard rock to a more commercial sound in the early 1980s, a move that alienated some fans but opened doors to new audiences. The guitar virtuoso's uncompromising vision led to both triumph and tragedy. It resulted in groundbreaking music that continues to inspire musicians today, but also created a trail of broken relationships and missed opportunities. Blackmore's refusal to conform to industry norms often came at a personal and professional cost. In 1997, Blackmore once again defied expectations by forming Blackmore's Night, a Renaissance-inspired folk rock band. This dramatic departure from his hard rock roots shocked many fans, but showcased his versatility as a musician. It allowed him to explore new creative avenues, while still occasionally performing songs from his past. Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow burned bright but brief, a testament to the volatile nature of genius. The band's legacy is a complex tapestry of musical brilliance and personal turmoil. Blackmore's uncompromising vision pushed the boundaries of rock, inspiring countless musicians. Yet his relentless pursuit of perfection came at a heavy personal cost, leaving broken relationships in its wake. Rainbow embodied both the triumph of artistic vision and the perils of unchecked ego. Blackmore's story serves as a stark reminder of the fine line between genius and self-destruction. His journey through Rainbow reveals the steep price of greatness, showcasing the double-edged sword of uncompromising artistic pursuit. The impact of Blackmore's work continues to resonate through rock history. His innovative guitar techniques and genre-defying compositions remain influential decades later. Rainbow's legacy stands as a testament to the enduring power of musical innovation, even as it cautions against the personal toll of unbridled ambition.